Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. Hope you enjoy. Story number 1. Remember the tale of when the human came, written by Ouija Warrior. Gather around, younglings, and listen to my tale. I will tell before I die, so you may carry it forward. I am the last who remembers when the human came. Yes, I am. It really happened. It is not just a tall tale we will tell around the fire to keep the dark away during the long dark. I may be almost 5.5, but my memory is still sharp. She came alone, fell out of the sky on a pillar of flame she did, in an egg made of metal. Yes, metal. And it is true that she showed us how to melt metal from rock. Patience, younglings. I'll get to that bit too. Oh yes, pillar of flame. Yeah, thank you, great-grandson. Her egg made loud noises and much smoke coming down. Not like an ember it was, setting fire to the field outside the village. What? Yeah, yes. That is where the temple is today. Used to be a big field. But when this was a mere village, and not as big as today. Now, yes, we ran away at first, then came back. And as we watched the egg hatched, and she came out, strode out, majestic-like. Each footfall made the earth shake, each stride like 2 of mine. Well, 3 or 4 these days, but... So we fled again, and watched from afar as she walked around the village. Once, twice, thrice. Then she went for her egg and, sort of folded it up. And waited until we got the nerve to return. Our bravest tried to talk to her. She listened, made noises like soft thunder in her mouth, caressed her magic box. Yes, the magic box. She carries in all of the carvings. It was real, I saw it, heard it, even touched it once. More of us dared come closer, talked at her, asked what she was, asked where she was from, asked what she wanted from us, asked why she had burned our crop. Blasphemy today, but we knew no better. And she listened and caressed the magic box. For a full day and a full night she just listened. Then she whispered to the box, and the magic in the box spoke to us in our tongue, although spoken like none of us do. She told us that she was a human, one of many, many. She told us that she was here because she was fated to be here, because no human had been here before. She kept listening, asking for our stories, asking about how we lived, and we asked her for stories in return. And she told us about the great humans in the sky. Yes, the stories carved into the slabs of the temple. Now, let me finish. Impatient younglings. She told us how humans lived almost forever in the sky. How they are wise and all-knowing and all-powerful. She listened, and in a week she decided we were worthy to teach. Since she, in her descent, had burned the field, she taught better ways to grow better crops. She taught us better ways to hunt great beasts with weapons that strike from afar. She ranged wide and far, bringing our bravest and wisest with her. She used her magic box to find the copper mountain and taught us to melt the rock into shiny, hard metal. She taught us to make his shiny metal into tools. Tools for hunting, tools for farming, tools for building, instead of using sharpened stones. And we built a lot back then. People of neighboring villages had heard and came. People from their neighboring villages heard and came. The word of the humans spread across the land, and many, many people came. Our village became so big that it was no longer a village, and she gave it the name City. And then, as the season turned, she gathered us around and told us that her stay with us must come to an end, that she must travel back into the sky and do combat, but that she would come back one day to teach us more. She told us she would not forget us, and we promised to always remember her and her teachings. She climbed back into her egg, sealed it up, and with a monstrous thunder it lifted back up to the heavens. And we have remembered, and we have told the story, so it will be remembered. And we built the great temple with the statues and carvings to help us remember. And if we do not forget, one day she will come back. My time is growing near, younglings. I can feel it in my bones. So now you must remember the story of the human who came to our lands. Now you must remember how she taught us how to live and prosper. Now you must keep the memory, so she will return when she is done defending the anthropological paper at the university. What? Speak up! No, I do not know what those words mean. That is a mystery she did not divulge. But the defense of this is very important to her, and then she will come back. She promised. She promised. End of story. Story number 2. And Yet the Soldier Stood, written by Monarch 357. The reptilian rifleman took point on the third story window, his target directly in his sights. Human, a bit under 2 meters tall, a lightweight armor at most, unarmed, oddly enough. Not many human soldiers let themselves get caught in enemy territory without something to protect themselves. The rifleman shook the thought away and refocused, easy prey for a crack shot like himself. His laser fell upon the soldier's heart, and his finger moved to the trigger. The sound wave that had almost certainly alerted the soldier to the rifleman's presence was lost within the heavy-duty suppressor of his gun. Impact, a flash of crimson, and a new roughly fingernail-sized hole appeared in the human's chest. And yet, the soldier stood. The rifleman's confidence quickly faded. He knew the shot landed. It hadn't destroyed the heart, but the lung would still be obliterated. The human's blood still spurted out of the wound with the telltale rhythm of a beating heart. And the wound began to seal. Like the shot was being undone, tissue and flesh reformed, and the soldier's torso was as good as new, apart from some damage to his armor and rig, along with quite a large bloodstain covering what remained. He was completely unaffected by the attempted kill. The rifleman wasn't sure what to do. The contemplation on whether to laugh, scream in fear, or simply flee raced through his mind. He pulled out his high-caliber sidearm and aimed it directly at the human's head, and just about targeted the trembling hands. He knew a human couldn't survive this. He killed many before using this exact pistol. Recoil, another shot, another spray of blood covered the pavement in front of the human. The larger caliber left a much larger hole in the human's head, it keeping itself just about together. And yet, the soldier stood. Just like what happened not 2 minutes before, the wound simply fixed itself. The rifleman couldn't even make out what was going on. 1 second, the head was in the shape of a donut, and the next, it was perfectly fine. The mind had shifted firmly back to the decision of fleeing. There was no way that he could kill this target. The rifleman had begun to turn and run. By the moment he had his back turned, the human was already sprinting towards his attacker, with inhuman speed. The nanite saturating his bloodstream had switched almost reflexively from protection to destruction. It took less than 2 seconds for the human to traverse the roughly 60-meter distance between the rifleman's perch, and another half-second to jump up to the exact window. A flash of steel concealed within his vest was drawn and swiftly plunged within the reptilian's chest, bluish black spraying from the newly created wound. As the rifleman began to fade to unconsciousness, he heard the human speak. "Tell you another one!" His voice cool and uneven, as if he hadn't even taken another being's life. "Our assailants appear not to know what we're capable of." The human pulled a knife out of the rifleman's chest and returned it to its hidden compartment, his expression still neutral. He was experienced with killing, very experienced. It was the reason he got this blessing in the first place. More shots in the distance would be registered as a threat by another soldier, but not this one. He simply stood there, giddy with anticipation. End of story. Story number 3. To Make an Alien's Day, written by Storm's Wrath. The humans had won the war. The Per fleet was destroyed, their orbital defense network now floating blobs of slag. But that wasn't Danny's concern. He wasn't a medic or a soldier. He was here on Per 4 because he wanted to be. He was carrying a bag of food and water on his back and putting a hovercraft loaded nearly to capacity with it. The food wasn't for him, though. Danny spotted a Per female walking in the ruined city street. Her clothes were tattered, and she was holding the hands of 2 smaller Per children. He could see the bruises and scrapes on all 3 of them. He didn't know whether she was their mother or not, until she gave one of them a kiss. Then she saw him. Her purple eyes whitened in fear. Please don't kill my children. Do what you want to me, but keep them safe, she wailed. She held them tightly, whimpering softly. They also started whining, which Danny guessed was their version of crying. They were still sad, though. All this destruction, just because a trade war went hot. I'm not going to hurt you, Danny said soothingly. I'm here to help. You look angry, the woman said. Only at the ones who let the cities fall into chaos. I've got nothing against you. I only had a grudge with the Per hegemony. They're gone now, and you and I are just people. And from one person to another, I apologize for what was done to you. Danny reached into the hovercraft and pulled out some snacks. The children gazed hungrily at them, while their mother appeared apprehensive. Do you really want to? The woman trailed off. Danny handed them the snacks and dug around in the cart for a bit. Here's some water for you, too. If you guys are dehydrated, don't drink too much, or you might overload your body. The Per woman smiled at him and took the bottle he was offering. Thank you for your help. Are you willing to allow us to stay with you? We have no other source of food. Sure. Just let me find the others first. When the cart's half empty, we'll go back. If you guys want to, I can get you all registered for off-world travel. There's a whole lot more food up there, but I'll be making a lot more trips here in the future. I will gift and provide until it is done. Sounds good, the Per woman said. Her children had finished eating and already looked healthier. The skin had lost some of its paleness. They'd always dreamed of seeing the stars, up close, that is. What's their names? Danny asked. Riley and Myrna. Mine's Apex. I'm Danny. Let's go help the others. End of story. I would quickly like to thank our Tier 5 patrons and channel members. Casper Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, it's difficult to pronounce, Lord Arishakal, Dragzoon WRE, and Arcadian. Thank you very much.